Hello everyone, this is Rangadad. Not financial advice, just the way I'm looking at the market. The question is, are we at the bottom for the time being for Bitcoin? The answer is maybe. The 60K level has been tested and tested and tested in the last 2 days, and it's holding at the moment. But we'll have a look and we'll see if we think that's going to stay that way. So just quickly on the daily, these levels are pretty solid in here. I think I mentioned yesterday that I thought it was probably going to be a bit choppy and a bit sideways for a couple of days. It may not actually last that long, given we've basically tested the 200 EMA here, and that was a solid level. I mentioned yesterday I thought it could sweep the lows and come down just to tap into that 200 EMA, and it has done that. It's actually looking like it could even do that again, but it also hit the 50 and the 100 EMA, rejected off them as well. So it's been a choppy day, that's for sure. Not any real great movement, but realistically, I would think in the next 2 days, so Friday can be like today, could be similar to this one. But with BBWP expanding, you probably want to see in the next few days, you actually want to see a bounce to the upside. This is a really good level to bounce from. Oh, looks like I didn't save that one through there. Sorry, that was the one I fixed yesterday. Was that the level? Yeah, it was something close to that. So that's a pretty solid level. If we do break below this, I would expect it to go pretty quickly down to the 57K mark, just because this level has provided such significant support. I don't think it'll like any further sweeps of these lows. I don't think they're gonna just be sweeps. I think they'll be a solid move down. Just stick to Bitcoin for a second. So interestingly, I found this Lux Algo supply and demand, daily supply and demand thing, which is probably worth putting on your charts if you're day trading. Don't be fooled by what it shows you in history. Obviously, this looks perfect. I don't think this is how it would have actually looked at the time, and this is just something I'm testing at the moment. Because yesterday this didn't look like that. So yesterday these levels extended out. This one might have come down, but I don't think so. I think these levels continued out, and then once we got to the end of yesterday, it changed to these levels, but was still showing the previous day's levels as well. And then sort of as we've come further through this day, it's changed to this. So it seems to update dynamically, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it has kept this level all throughout today. And obviously these levels are pretty solid levels now. Over the weekend, hopefully I'm going to program that into the bot that I'm trying to develop, and combined with some of this stuff, I think I might be able to get a pretty solid bot. So yeah, I'll have to wait and see how that goes for the Origin guys. But yeah, looking at this level here, it's a very solid level. Lots of wicks through this. That's the median level. That, I think, if we close even a 5-minute closure below this level, I think it's going to drop to 57k. Not instantly, but pretty quickly. And there is a chance that this could happen too. Like these levels aren't always hit and bounced away from. Sometimes it does break through them. And I would, just like any other level that you're drawing in, if it tests it a lot, it's going to get to a point that if it keeps testing it, it will break through. So the issue we have here on the shorter time frames is we do have a bit of a downward trend forming here. Yeah. Bit of a wedge pattern. Even on a shorter scale. Yeah. This over the last day has been getting weaker on the bounces, and that's not a good sign. So even you could extend that back up through there. That was kind of a false breakout. So yeah, 60k is a really important level today. We're getting a lot of volume too at these levels. So one thing I did zoom out on, just going to use this one for a second. Might be a bit cleaner. So one thing I noticed, the volumes on the way down through here were quite a bit lighter than that last leg up. So fairly light through that level. And then obviously on this drop here, there was a lot more liquidations, I think, and that meant the volumes really spiked. But we've had a lot of volume through this low here. It's kind of what you would want to see if you're looking for a base. Typically on normal stock markets and things like that, you want to see big volumes over a sustained period to find your base. Let's see. You can see there, big volume, sustained period. It's kind of looking similar at the moment. Where is it? Oops, I've gone too far. There we go. So, that's something to keep in mind. It does look like it wants to bounce here, but man, that downward wedge pattern, makes me a little more bearish than anything. But I guess if you're just waiting, you're basically just waiting for confirmation either way. And a solid close above this and a retest of this level, basically probably move up into that there is an 800 EMA, I think, memory. Yeah, 800 EMA. Move up into that 800, come back down, probably bounce off the 50 and the 200, and then breaking through this particular supply level would see us go, I think, on a pretty decent bounce back up. And this could be the low that we're putting in at the moment. Still a little concerned. The Asian trading sessions, the volume is still really low compared to what it has been in past months. It could be a good thing though, because a lot of that volume was caused a lot of downside price action. So we'll just have to wait and see. This was unfortunate last night. I fell asleep on my phone as it was coming down. I had a little short open. Would have been nice to close it out once it bounced off that level, but as it is, it's not. It's not actually. I think it's still slightly in profit, so I might close that out. Just wait for confirmation in either direction. Although stochastic momentum's coming down on the shorter time frame, so I'd like to see that probably reset before I close it out. The other thing too is the 15-minute stochastic momentum is coming in. It's only just come into the bullish control zone. As you can see, it can take a while to roll over, and realistically, when it comes back down out of that zone, is kind of where you get confirmation of a proper downward movement. So yeah, that's, I don't know. It's we could sort of trudge sideways here for a little bit before we get downside. So I guess for the bulls, for that price action to play out as I drew it before, you actually kind of want the 5-minute momentum to sort of come down, maybe bounce off the mid band, 0 level, and then come back up into that bullish control zone for a while, and then come down. That would sort of lead you to be maybe pull back a little bit further in here, then come up, and then you get your pullback, and this pullback could lead you all the way to a full reset on both medium term and longer term. Find a base around here somewhere and then push away. That's just the different scenarios that I'm kind of on the lookout for. At this stage, you got to be kind of bearish, and I don't know that the 200 will hold here. We are getting a bit of a turnaround in the 200 though. The momentum is sort of shifting to the upside a little bit. So kind of in no man's land. We need some confirmation either way. Yeah. Key levels, closure below. Let's call it a 15-minute closure below 59,950. Probably two closures on the 5-minute or one closure on the 15-minute, I think, is probably going to lead to more downside. Whereas break up above this trend line and a retest and a move away, so breaking above whatever high we get to here, would be confirmation that we're going higher. Coming back to the daily, does that mean we shoot back up to all-time highs? Probably not. I think it will be a slow sort of trudge up, but this is the kind of level that we want to base from to push to new all-time highs. I think for those that were listening on the way up here, you get a little concerned that pushing from such a low level and then it's unlikely that you break straight through. It can happen. I think with Wall Street involved now, I don't think we're going to get anything quite like that again. Once we hit new all-time highs and we get a confirmed breakout, then yep, we'll go parabolic. But at this stage, this is kind of what you want to see. You want to see a decent pullback into a higher low, which is what we would have here. We've got the higher high. So I think even that was actually a higher low as well, just like bee's dick in it. But so higher low, higher high, hopefully a higher low somewhere in this region, and then move to the upside. Much easier to break through when you're coming from a shorter distance. Okay, that's why wedge patterns tend to play out in one direction or another, because by the time you're coiling in a small range, it's just there's a lot more liquidity to take, and you end up squeezing in one direction. Now, saying that, let's have a look at CoinAnk. CoinAnk's kind of suggesting like the 50 and the 20 EMAs are below us at the moment. Looks like it may want to bounce off them. Still not seeing any real confirmation of a proper high or a proper low in this area yet. This could have been the low confirmation in this area. It's a fairly solid signal, but yeah, it's I mean, this looks more like a high confirmation here than a low. So I guess it's, if you're in longs, be careful. There is a lot of orders to the downside, right down into that 57K level. So 57K keeps coming up with a lot of different things that I'm looking at. A lot of confluence down there for a bottom, but yeah, just not 100% sure it'll happen yet. The other concerning thing is there's quite a lot of liquidations down to around that 59,500 level. Yesterday I did mention that we could sort of sweep to that level and wick. If we wick down there in a daily and then come back up, that'll be okay. But just based on how much support is happening at this level here and how much buying there is, I would think if we do drop through this level, it'll probably keep going a bit further than that. So yeah, just looking at this, there seems to be a lot more liquidations and a lot more orders coming in below than there is above. And saying that, we look at the actual liquidation map from CoinGlass. This here, 50 mil at basically 60K. Looks like that may be attractive to it. It could come back down and take that and then still bounce off that 60K level. It could sweep into here and bounce back up, which is your 59,500 level, same as the other CoinAnk chart. It's only fairly new liquidity, and we're only talking tens of millions. I mean, hundreds of millions, really, if it takes all this. But, when you look at, let's look at the 1 month. I mean, there's $1 billion at 63.5 as well. So, and this 57 level is nearly $1 billion as well. So, kind of in the middle of no man's land at the moment. We're stuck between these two levels. Literally $3,000 either way would be a fair target. as we've said previously, it doesn't have to come back into these levels. It is a fair way away from that at the moment. It's just there is sort of 250 mil around the 58.5 as well. Nearly $1 billion at 59,600. So a sweep of those levels down to 59,500 is still possible. It's just a matter of whether it keeps going. And given what we're looking at in terms of volumes that's come through at the bottom here, a sweep down to 59.5 would come just below here, and then closure just above that, or even just above the 200 EMA would be fantastic. That I would be really starting to turn more bullish if that happens on a daily close. But for the time being, there's still a risk of decent downside into that 57 level, which would be recovery of this vector candle as well, which daily vectors are reasonably attractive to price action. So yeah, it really needs to try and hold at least that 200 EMA. That's what we're looking for over the next, well, probably over 4 days, to be honest. Closures below 60k on the daily aren't going to be very bullish, put it that way. Global liquidity is dropping a little bit as well, so that's never great for price action. As you can see here, global liquidity pushes up, Bitcoin price goes up. Global liquidity comes down, Bitcoin price keeps going down. So that's a little bit of a concern as well. Stock market's still pulling back as well, so you know. Yeah, they're the key levels today. Not much more I can say than that. Stochastic momentum's still down. But yeah, looking for a turnaround, but just not confirmed yet, obviously. Go to the NAS. Yeah, interesting. Opened higher, but closed lower. I think it's just going to trudge down. We might get a news day where it breaks down a bit. It could be non-farm payrolls that does it. I would expect some sort of decent volume downside in this area at some stage. It just hasn't happened yet. Same with S&P. Stochastic momentum has just broken out of that bullish control zone for both of these, I think. Yep. NASDAQ had broke out yesterday, so BBWP is still coming down though. So again, not expecting a violent move, but it's still expecting downside. Equal weight's coming down as well. Equal weight looks like it's bottoming on the BBWP a bit quicker than the others. It might give us an indication of what's actually going to happen, or an early indication anyway. IWM still coming down. Stochastic momentum still coming down. BBWP is just starting to increase, but I think if it can find a bottom reasonably soon, IWM might actually lead the bounce. So be on the lookout for that. I would still kind of expect it to come into this sort of level here, which is now support somewhere around that 100 EMA. XLI looks like it's properly rolled over now. Expect this to come back a bit more. XLY, XLP is still quite resilient at these levels. So again, nothing's screaming that the economy's shit and it's going to all break. This is an interesting one. I'll keep an eye on the KRE. If regional banking breaks down, then I'd be a little bit more concerned. We may get more of a push to the downside, but at this stage, doesn't look too bad. ITB, so home construction still holding. DJR Gold still holding, but it's not looking not looking great. You want gold to pull back, and you want DJI to push up. But at this stage, it doesn't look like that's happening. VIX is still pushing a little bit, so could get a bit more downside. I think non-farm payrolls are shaping up to be a down day, so I don't think the market's going to like it. HSI, a pretty solid level that we talked about. Had that on the charts for a couple of days now. Target is back down into this region here. In fact, it's probably moved up, to be honest. It's probably more, given the interest in it, it's probably up around there, around these highs, back into maybe the 50 EMA. Yeah, that was violent. Kind of need another day to confirm that, yes, it's coming back down. Just one candle to the downside that's an inside candle doesn't really mean anything. That could still break through and still squeeze all the shorters out. You're trying to stop a freight train at the moment. That huge liquidity injection in China. Treasury is coming back a little bit more than what I thought. Could come right back into a 94, actually. 95, 94. See what happens. TLT is still a long-term hold for me in my retirement account. Yeah, high yields coming back, so the bond market is still heading down, so I would expect the stock market to follow suit. Nothing violent though, so not super concerned. 2-year and 10-year are both basing at the moment. Again, just coming off sort of, they priced in basically a recessionary type cut, and the Fed's now positioning that, oh no, we're not going to cut as quickly. There's no reason to panic, all that kind of crap. So, yeah, when that happens, the yields are going to come up. So, I don't expect that to last too long though. Copper. Yeah, copper still looks like it wants to come back into our zone. Given how close we are, that might actually come back a little deeper than that. Could come back into the 428 sort of level, the 618. Gold still topping at the moment. Could just get a sideways sort of consolidation like this one here. That would be pretty bullish for gold, to be honest. if we just go sideways and wait for this this 20 EMA to catch up, then it would be happy days for gold. Silver's actually had a good move to the upside. Again, silver is trying to outperform gold. Good closure above the 200. Two positive closures above the 200 here. So silver might, as we've kind of suspected, is potentially going to be the play if you want percentages. Should I just do? So oil's broken through this sort of through the 50 EMA. Solid move up. I'm expecting the 200 EMA to get hit here. Probably a bit of a pullback and then a move away. We kind of, if silver's, if oil's going to base here, and I'll leave this on here today. I deleted it yesterday, but I've got a W pattern forming here up into the 200. If we come back and bounce somewhere around the 71 level and then push away, that could be the start of the move, which would be the leg, like the last run up into the recession. As we mentioned, most recessions actually see a pump in oil before they occur. So just something to be on the lookout for. Whether we get new all-time highs or not, I'd be interested to see. But if we do, I think it'll be due to there being a war and stuff like that as well. So it's going to be an interesting couple of years, as I've mentioned previously. What the? Why isn't TSI updating? I had to look into this. It hasn't updated all week. Final spot. Futures is probably what I want. Go with the COMEX one. Yeah, that's updating, so that's handy. Pulling back a little bit. Geez, the 200 EMA looks like a pretty interesting level for this one, at least in recent time, at least this year. So if we can bounce away from that 200 EMA, then happy days for the iron ore companies, which could mean materials will go really well. The other thing with oil is energy stocks have been pretty unloved lately. So, and utilities have been going on a bit of a run. I think those two are probably going to switch at the moment. Dixie looks like it's heading back up to this 200 EMA, which will be a pretty solid level somewhere around here. I don't expect Dixie to really break through that for any significant amount of time. It could reach the 104 level again, over the next few months. But I think Dixie probably will find a fair bit of resistance around these two levels, around the 103 and the 104 level. Aussie dollar pulling back on the basis of a strong US, weak Japanese, and weak euro. The euro looks like it may break down further. So realistically, this is your target for euro, back into this level here, which is a bit of a demand level. Yeah, expect that as a key turning point for the US dollar as well. GBP still struggling. Still haven't got an update on that, have we? Anyway, percentage of stocks above 50-day average, hitting the 200 EMA. Not that I really pay too much attention to the EMAs on this chart. Yeah, I'd expect that to keep coming down into a proper reset. I just don't think, like, for this to stop coming down, you really got to start getting a turnaround on your RSP, and I don't think that's happening anytime soon. Or turnaround on your IWM, probably more so. I think next week looks like it could be another sort of mostly down week on the stock market, which will be interesting for crypto. Crypto isn't very well correlated to the markets at the moment, but hopefully it leads the way, I guess. Hopefully soon. Nvidia. Nvidia looks. Oh, that's right. The CEO came out and said the demand for their new chip is through the roof. So Nvidia's probably, wouldn't surprise me if Nvidia broke out, come back in, and then let's do it more in line with what the timing might be. Possibly somewhere into earnings and then go nuts. Earnings is a fair way off though. Around the election too, so yeah, could be an interesting retest around that level. If the market's suppressed going into the election, then expect some pretty decent moves after the election, regardless of who wins, really. Stock market doesn't care, it just wants certainty. It knows what it's dealing with. Ethereum broke through our support level. This level in here, we had the high volume area. Got a little bit of a wick to recover if it wants it, but honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if that comes into here. So if that happens, I would suspect Bitcoin does actually hit the 57K mark. So Ethereum, you really want to see some support around this level here. All right, so that's about it for me. I'll have a quick look at CME. CME is interesting. Stochastic momentum on CME hasn't even come into the bearish zone yet. Volatility still dropping. Kind of retesting all these EMAs, the 100, 50, and 20 in the last day. Just based off CME, I'd be saying 57K Bitcoin over the next few days, maybe the next week. Yeah, it might be even a little bounce over the weekend. So, although CME's got one more day left as well, so may have a down day, a little bit of chop over the weekend on the normal Bitcoin market, and then early next week 57k, and then we move away. I'd be okay with that, but yeah, it's dangerous. Dangerous levels breaking the 60k. So, especially given the volume that we've had traded through that level. Not much volume on CME today, though. What's the volume like on? Yeah, volume's been a bit bigger on the normal. It's still not huge, though, eh? All right. That will do it for me today, I think. Quick look at Sol. Yeah, there's not much. I mean, Sol's recovered this vector on the daily. There's a few wicks in here, though. Fuck, this is looking juicy at the moment, eh? It's hard not to look at those sort of levels when you got trends like this with increasing BBWP. I think if Sol hit 109, I think that would be a pretty significant buying level. But I'd be pretty concerned about the market overall, to be honest. Like Bitcoin at 49, I don't know that would hold. Low volume through there, that's... Oh, yeah, I'd be back into that 43, 42k mark on Bitcoin. Bit doomsday-ish, but at the moment, no reason to be that doomsday oriented. 57k is our target if we break these levels. Then we see how we go from there. It's just, yeah, Sol breaking through these levels isn't great. $120, I would say, needs to hold for Sol. Just going to put that in as a marker. That support definitely needs to hold. Sol's not necessarily the same as Bitcoin in terms of it doesn't need to run from as high as what Bitcoin probably does. The other thing too with these is when I say it's better if it runs from higher, what we could see is something more like this once we get back up to the top, regardless of where we come from, whether it's from down here or from where we are. You're probably going to see a bit of chop sideways for potentially a few days to a couple of weeks. And then that you kind of want to see a rising wedge. This is kind of not a rising wedge, it's more of a falling wedge, but you want to see on the shorter time frames, sort of hourly, 4 hourly, you want to see it come up and basically just do something like this, and then maybe one more and a break. Once you're breaking a rising wedge like that, that would be a fair sign that we are going to all-time highs. All right, that'll do. It's a 45-minute one. I think I covered everything for the weekend. I probably won't do any lives this weekend. I'll try and get back on Monday. It's public holiday over here. Yeah, we'll see how we go. If there's anything of particular interest, I might do something short from home anyway.